Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we are breaking down one of the core tools you use in nearly every test scripts, logical conditions. We are answering the question, why are logical conditions so vital in automation? From decision making to test branching, logical conditions bring life to your test cases. And let's understand why. Logical conditions are rules that help your code decide what to do next. They are built using logical operators like and, or, and not. But the real power comes from how you use them to control your test flow. A logical condition always evaluates to either true or false. Based on the result, your code decides which block to execute.
So let's create a class testlogicalconditions.java. Let's add a main method to it, public static void main. And here I'm just going to show an if condition. So basically if is logged in and has permission. So basically these two conditions should show true for this method to be executed, like view dashboard. Oh, there is a red here. So let me just assign some values to is logged in as true and has permission as true. These are hard-coded values. This is not the way how the real automation would look like, but I just want to show an example.
Once I fully understood logical condition, my tests became much more smarter and more adaptable. Basically, my tests had a life. What specific bugs did I prevent by understanding logical conditions? I avoid issues where tests would pass or fail for the wrong reasons, like skipping a step if either a button was missing or disabled, instead of requiring both. So once the right combination of and, or, and not made my validations actually bulletproof. Why logical conditions are essential in test automation? Test cases often have multiple outcomes based on user input, app state, or environment settings. So logical conditions let you check if multiple conditions are met, combine validation rules, make your test flow dynamic, avoid unnecessary test failures. Let's go and check a code snippet.
First, let's add two variables. Boolean is element visible as true and Boolean is enabled equals true. Again, these are hard-coded values. Our intent is to explain about the AND operator. So what here I'm doing is I'm passing an if condition to check is element visible and is enabled. If both the values are true, then element.clickoff will be executed. In real automation code, we would have scenarios always to check for an element as visible or as enabled, and only then we need to perform a click method. So that is the reason I just had a pseudocode here, and our intent is to explain about the AND operation and not about Selenium.
How has my knowledge of logical conditions affected my debugging process? When a test failed, I learned to inspect the logic in my conditions. Sometimes a misplaced note or an extra or was the culprit. Understanding how Java evaluates its expressions helped me quickly understand the real issue. In what ways do logical conditions influence test maintainability? Good logical conditions make tests easier to read, update, and extend. Instead of duplicating the test code for each and every scenario, I use conditions to branch my logic, keeping the scripts clean and flexible.
Let's see how logical condition work in real automation project, but this is just a more code for it. So first I'm writing if is password correct and is OTP valid, then you grant access. This is for a banking app to show the two-factor authentication. The next one, let's take in context for a flight booking. If first time user or has promo code, then call the method apply discount off. You apply a discount if the user is new or it has a valid promo code. Let's go to the next context, that is shopping cart valid checkout. You add a method here. No, basically you add a condition. If note cart is empty and has shipping address, then you call the method proceed to payment. Basically proceed to payment only if the cart isn't empty and has a valid shipping address.
These are some of the examples of how you write logical conditions in your program. Logical condition make your test intelligent. Without them, you would need hundreds of rigid test cases. But with them, your scripts can adapt based on your app behavior, user roles, or the test data. They reduce the test flakiness and improves realism, just like real user making a decision. Let me take a snippet from my recent automation project. I used logical conditions to skip certain checks if the test environment was missing a feature. Why is understanding the order of logical conditions important for automation? The order of condition it always matters, especially with and or, because Java uses short circuiting. For example, if a not equal null and a dot is active of. And if a is null, Java won't even check a dot is active of, preventing a crash. Knowing this, it helps me write safer and more efficient tests. So, how do logical conditions that help prevent test flakiness? By combining checks like visibility and enable state, it ensures actions only happen when the app is truly ready. This reduces random failures and make my tests more reliable. So, the next time when you write an if condition, remember you are not just adding code, you are creating logic that decides how and when your tests run. In the next episode, let's explore Java's if else and switch statements in depth and how they form the backbone of test case branching. If you have found this video as helpful, don't forget to hit on the like button, subscribe my video, and drop your questions below. Stay tuned and happy testing.